Batman number 23, Tom King writing, and Mitch Gerards on art. It's called The Brave and the Mold, as Matt pointed out earlier, which is a really fun pun.
It is.
And this is a little sort of kind of murder mystery. That this guy gets killed, and it turns out that it's actually Swamp Thing's biological father. He never really spoke too much. He met him like once, I think they say in the book. And
the stepdad raised him as his own, you know.
So Swamp Thing shows up in Gotham to this crime scene, out of something on the table. I guess it was like a small plant or something on the table.
Yeah. But you can do that when you're hooked into the green.
Yeah. You know? It was nice. I think the thing that sticks out to me most about this issue is how much I'm starting to really appreciate Mitch Gerards as an artist, because the other two that he did a while back were really good.
The thing that stands out to me the most is how much Tom King loves Kite Man.
Oh, no, that's great as well. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah! That's how I read it as he's falling.
It's the only way I'm going to read Kite Man from now on. Every time someone says Kite Man, I just go, hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only response.
He's great. I love it. I love this running
I'm loving
gag.
King on these smaller issues like this. Like, even the Rooftops, which I had some problems with just because of how his relationship between Catwoman and Batman is for me. But there's full of great small little moments around Gotham. This had the same, you know, and with like Gordon interacting with Swamp Thing too.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
It was pretty fun.
Or even Alfred like sweeping up, like because he's getting annoyed because there's so much like just plants and bits of twigs and stuff around the house.
And remind me, there is a scene with Swamp Thing in the Batmobile, right?
There is. Like, yeah, because there's a great exchange. He's like, "Why do you even need a car?" He's like, "Why do you need a body?"
Yeah.
He's like, good point.
Yeah. Do you know, I love the format of this, where it's split into the chapters that last, page, 2-3 pages, whatever each one. They vary in length, but
it really makes it feel like a one-shot story.
Yeah, he really manages to break down like this is a complete story in 20 odd pages, and it feels like it has multiple parts because of the way it's structured.
Actually, I want to talk about the Kite Man scene, not just for the same reasons why we love it, because this Kite Man running thing is great.
Yeah.
But the actual momentum of, because Batman basically, because they figure out that someone had to come through the window because this guy was murdered so many floors up
on the 84th floor.
Yeah, and this gives them the idea that either if Kite Man himself wasn't involved, that maybe he gave his kite to someone. And
maybe he was just flying around and saw what happened.
Possibly. But he basically jumps on him and they're on free fall, and Swamp Thing like sort of prepares like a net for them. But Batman's interrogating them as they're free falling through the air, and the whole thing is just gorgeous, and just there's so much like speed and momentum as they're going down. I loved it. I love the color scheme as well. It's all these like sort of blues and greens. It's a very sort of, it's kind of like the cold concrete of the city mixed with the greens of Swamp Thing. It was quite a nice thing.
They clash, but they go together really well too.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because for example, you mentioned the scene in the Batmobile. The exterior shots are all really blue, but the interiors are all really green. And I guess that's because they're in a close space with Swamp Thing, and he's making the whole place.
That also happened even on the variant cover. I think it was the sale. It's the top half where Swamp Thing is all green, where he's brought in, and the bottom's kind of blue where Batman is, and it's like this meeting of the world just in the colours. It's great.
Yeah, obviously it ends. They find the culprit, and Swamp Thing, despite promising he wouldn't, actually immediately just kills the guy. He like puts vines and stuff in him and just takes him apart. Batman tries to like yell at him.
Grows flowers out of his eyes, and it is gloriously horrific.
And obviously,
it's almost like he couldn't control himself.
Yeah, and obviously Batman's pissed at him. Swamp Thing's all, my father, you don't understand, and like my father sent me letters, I never read them, and Bruce is like, do you know who I am? I have the monopoly in this city on tragic like parent deaths and dealing with it. I did the whole the simple connection of the letter as well.
I think it goes one step further than that. It goes back to obviously that story that Swamp Thing told him about how the reason he wasn't mourning is because he's still alive in the green. It's there is an afterlife because he is that afterlife essentially.
Oh yeah, because he even talks about how anyone who dies, like, they go into the dirt and they almost live again in a different way. They contribute to life.
Right, exactly. And but when it turns out no, he is upset, he is emotional, and that is that isn't comforting enough for him. Batman,
Right.
it's almost like for the duration of this issue, he's bought into this thing that's where his parents are, and it's like, okay, his parents are in a better place, and it's helping him cope with that. But then seeing Swamp Thing just be like, no, it's not actually important. It was just something I was telling myself. Kind of breaks Bruce a little bit, like where he loses it so quickly.
Yeah, well, he calls him a coward, and I think the whole idea that Batman, up until this, where he's kind of maybe believing this for this issue, has always like fought against like just like giving into his emotions. Like he's like, you know, he doesn't take the easy way out. He doesn't just kill it. But Swamp Thing believes this thing, and then immediately, as soon as the feelings overtake him, he just throws it all away and just does exactly what Bruce has fought against his entire life.
Yeah. Right. But it's that moment where Bruce says to him, you have to tell me that my mother and father are falling back into life. He's so desperate to cling to some notion of a quantifiable afterlife, something where they are there somewhere.
Yeah, but of course, like, because of the thing he just went through, where he's seen his father, and like he's all these doubts and feelings have came back up for him, and now he's going through this story. It just everything just nicely ties into where he is in terms of his character arc right now. It just
definitely
very neatly.
He's vulnerable.
Yeah, it's funny because I think you go, oh, there's going to be a one shot, you know, between the arcs where it's like him and Swamp Thing. I think there's a 2-issue wrap up to the Bane thing next before we get to War Joking Riddles. But like, you're like, oh, it's a one shot with Swamp. Oh, it'll be a fun little thing. It won't, you know, connect to anything overall. But nah, sure enough, it thematically links right in.
Yeah, absolutely does.
So, any further thoughts?
Love the art again. Gerard's is great.
Yeah, beautiful.
I think we said it when he was on Rooftops, and we just praised it so much. And I do think it worked a little bit better for Rooftops. You know, the Dark Knight, you know, the romantic story, compared to this, where it's still very good. I think it works a little bit better for that other stuff.
I think it works for both. I probably agree that the Rooftops one works a little bit better, but I feel like here, because it's like a somber mood, I think it...
Oh yeah, it still works.
Yeah.
Just not quite as well as the sad romanticism of the Catwoman story just added this extra bit for the art for me.